Guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Wednesday evening. Want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well as season. I got a word for you. Tap in. Happy Wednesday evening, guys. So I'm responding to an email from a young lady. Pull it up. Sorry, pull it up. And she states, "Hey Kizzy, my name is such and such. I found your channel through Pastor R.C. Blakes Jr., and I'm so happy that I found you. You are so positive and motivational. I often hear you say things like, we as the chosen one, we have choices. Well, honey, as you would say, where are my where are my choices? So I am newly divorced. However, I'm in a healing, sorry. I'm newly divorced. However, I'm in a healing season, and I do believe that marriage is my calling. I do know I need to heal because my ex was a narcissist and he broke me down so bad, and my self-esteem is to the floor, as you as you would say. I watched your video the other night on date night, and I found it very intriguing, and you motivate me to take myself out on the date. I saw that there was a gentleman in the video who was the security who you were speaking about. He is he's absolutely handsome. I'm not sure if that's someone who you're seeing, but if not, would you be open to giving him my email? Also, I heard you speak about a gentleman who you met when you was leaving out of the store. It seems as if you obviously have choices, but can you help me understand, how do I discern who is for me and who's not? Because if we have choices, how do we know that the individuals who we come in encounter with is not the individual who God is sending? Any advice would be appreciated. Thank you so, so much. I absolutely love you, and I'm so happy that I found you." Hey, sis. Okay. Hey, sis. Uh, Thank you for trusting my opinion, all caps opinion. A couple of things. Great for you that you recognize that you need a healing season after marriage or after a relationship, partnerships, whatever, right? So great for you that you are in a healing season. I would say that if you're in a healing season, honey, you don't got time to be worried about no man right now. You're supposed to be healing, not right, not looking for sexual healing. You're healing. Um, so great for you. Next, thanks for your wonderful compliments. I receive them, truly I do. Confidence, sis, is, I know you say you're newer to the channel. That's something that I speak about a lot, and I will say again that confidence is internal. Confidence comes from when you know who you are in God. Confidence comes from when you are tapped in. When you are tapped in, you know who you are. A lot of people struggle with confidence because someone or something have changed them along the way. That can look like childhood. That can look like bullying, right? That can look like abandonment and rejection issues from parents or just other siblings. And so all these things, that can look like bad relationships such as yourself. So all these things, your confidence take a hit. And then especially like in relationships or marriages, if you're not careful, people can, I've experienced this one time, right? People can subtly change you and you don't even realize it is happening. So when you are really struggling, when people are really struggling to identify, who am I? Something has changed them along the way, or someone has changed them along the way. So when I made a conscious decision, because I heard from God very early on to never ever change until I hear from him, right? So my obedience was to be my true authentic self. Even though others could not understand me, I was always misunderstood. I just knew that God told me to always, always be true to my authentic self. Not knowing that he would use me, my true authentic self, how he's using me now in many other different ways, right? So the point I'm trying to make here is Confidence comes from when you are your true, authentic self. You are not trying to be like nobody else. You're not trying to look like anybody else. You don't care who gets you and who don't get you. You just know that you're cut from a different cloth, and God is using you in the way that God chooses to use you, regardless of what people say. You're in the lane of your own. You can't even see others. You're in your own lane. When you stay in that lane and you remain true to who you are, you will naturally come into confidence, because your purpose you will run into purpose. You will run into all these great things that build your confidence over time. So that's where, again, I believe confidence comes from. You can't put confidence on. This is why you can take a certain dress and some certain red bottoms or whatever, and you can put them on two different people. You can put them on a woman who may not be attractive to maybe most people in the world, and then you can put it on to someone who is, I guess they would consider to be a dime piece. But anybody who is tapped in, when you have a conversation with both, you can really tell who is really, really assured of themselves. If the woman who is less attractive, if she really, really knows who she is and she's tapped in. And, this is why you can see people who society may not deem to be very attractive, but it's something about them. It's something about them that intrigues you. And then you can have a person who's extremely beautiful, but then when she opens her mouth, you're just like, wow, she's just physically beautiful, but there's nothing else. Right. So that's my whole shebang about confidence. What was your other question? No, sis. No. The gentleman, his name is Will, who you saw in the video. Let me just tell you, sis, if he was my man, he would not have been on video. Trust me when I tell you. Trust me when I tell you. He would have not, at least not with me. He would not have been on video with me. Speaking of that, a gentleman emailed me and said something in reference. I had to go back and look at the recording video, but he said something in reference to Will asked for my number or said something about my number. And so I had to go look back and look at it. And I was like, oh, what that was, honestly, when he walked, this is why people will literally pick and find the smallest little thing and just, oh my goodness. He was actually coming to me to ask me if I can take videos and photos of him as well, because he saw me taking the pictures of Isaiah on stage. And I don't know, whoever was supposed to be taking his pictures didn't show up or something. So he just wanted some photos of himself. Listen, judge me all you want. Your girl's still team Android. So the pictures and the videos were not that great. It's okay. I'm going to get me an iPhone just for pictures really, really soon. So when he came over, he was asking me if I still had his number so I can send the pictures in the video to him. This is also why you see him in the videos several times, because he wanted pictures and videos. So that's what that was all about. But no, he is not my man. I'll shoot him a message. I don't know what you want me to say. I guess I will say one of my good sis from YouTube thinks you're fine. And you're not the only one who's been asking about him. Trust me, right? I have a couple of women who think you're fine. And whatever you want me to say, sis, just email me and I'll shoot him the message. As far as having options, absolutely, my chosen ones, absolutely. Yes, you have options. I think a lot of people don't even realize how much options that they do have, because remember, when you're dealing with self-esteem and confidence issues, you're in your mind, you're in your head about every little thing. So you can have a guy who's literally checking you out, but you don't even recognize it. You just thinking that nobody's looking at you because he sees what you see. So you're seeing yourself one way and you're thinking like, oh, he's seeing me like that too. Nobody likes me. Sis, listen, once you really tap in and you level up, right, after your healing season, you attract what you are. So once you heal, your energy will be so magnetic that people will come to you. So yes, you will have choices. How do you discern who these choices are? I kind of touched on this last night, and I kind of just say a few things. Okay, here's the thing. From my opinion and even experience, a lot of the times, I definitely won't say all, because I'm sure there's the person that your God ordained person. A lot of the times, it's not going to be the person who you chose or who you wanted like that, right? Like you chose, I don't know, let's say your ex-husband. You chose him based on just your own fleshly desires, or maybe there was some attraction there, even some chemistry, right? Because chemistry is great. Chemistry is great. Chemistry will have you messed up thinking like this is like, ooh, this got to be the one. But when you experience a spiritual connection will override chemistry any day. Chemistry is amazing, for real. Chemistry will really have you thinking like, Lord, this gots to be the one, right? But a spiritual connection is different. With a spiritual connection, it's just something about your spirits collide. Your soul is settled. So yes, it's still that attraction, right? Because it's ordained. So automatically the spirits are attracted to each other. You're attracted to each other, but it's not that fleshly attraction that got you in the same situation you're in now. If you chose on your own accord, just because, both of y'all fine, whatever y'all was doing, it was popping, whatever y'all got going on, right? It was all based around the flesh somehow, and God wasn't involved. But when you come into your ordained kingdom partners or spouses, etc., I think where people struggle at is a lot of people have a hard time turning the flesh off, because for whatever reason, they're just not disciplined enough. I don't know. So it gets very confusing, because it goes from flesh to spirit, flesh to spirit, flesh. So you got to be so disciplined. And I think this is why, too, a lot of the times God throws out behind in isolation, and he throws out behind in the wilderness before he reveals these individuals to us. Because within the wilderness, you should have already learned a great deal of discipline, right? You should already have healed enough to know that, because see, once you healed, you won't even be attracted to the same type of people that you were attracted to prior to healing. So once you heal, if you can get through this healing process and stop worrying about men, then you'll realize that when you come out of your healing season, you will realize what you need. You will realize that it's the complete opposite many times of what you wanted in the past. So, if you, of course, in your case, obviously you haven't. So if you have not encountered this individual yet, God has just promised you this or told you this, but you have not encountered them yet. The problem with this group of people is, again, because God has said it to them, and I said this last night on the recording, you just want to get dressed and you want to go meet every man you can. You're going to hit up every club. You're going to hit up every gas station, every Walmart, wherever you're going to try to hit every place, seeking and searching for a man because God said. And you're going to attract all the wrong individuals. So you got to be disciplined enough to know that you can have 10 dudes checking for you every day. Seriously. Like, you can have dudes checking for you all day long. But you got to remember what God said to you. Because see, in that wilderness or that isolation season. Oh, God, listen, God already revealed to you all kind of stuff. Why you even dealt with these trifling ex-husband of yours, right? He done revealed that to you because you're healed. So he's showing you this is why you were attracted to this toxic person, because you were toxic. You just didn't know it then, right? Energy attracts energy. So now that you're healed, a toxic person will turn you off. So now when you go out your door and you meeting 50,000, okay, first of all, let's be clear, right? There's a very, 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 very small percentage of healed, whole individuals. So you can meet 1,000 dudes per day. 90%, 95% of them, you know immediately that ain't it, because that's what it was in the past. So of course you're still nice, you're still friendly, right? You're still vibing and giving great energy, but you know ain't nothing happening. You know ain't nothing happening, right? But then there's going to be a very small percentage that you do meet who seems to be healed and whole and like really respectful and all this great stuff, but it's something that's just not settled in your spirit. You're playing ping pong in your mind. Could it be? Maybe it is. I don't know. I think really a lot of the times that's your flesh, because your flesh just wants what God says. Your flesh just wants a man. But you got to be so disciplined that even when you meet this small percentage, right, and you will encounter them as well, you got to be so disciplined in your flesh that you're patient enough to let whatever manifest. God will manifest it. So you won't have a problem walking away. Let me. Never mind. You won't have a problem walking away from someone who seems to be. And I'm sorry, my shower just started dripping. That thing scared me. Who deems to be, have the qualities of a man, the man that God says he has for you, right? You would not have a problem walking away from this man because you know that anything that is God ordained has to find you. It has to link up. I am going to say what I said the other day. I mean, what I said a few minutes ago. So I was where was I? I was at the car wash, like the little drive-in ones or whatever. And you know like how they have like the little hoses that you can kind of stop and just like vacuum your car out. So it was this gentleman, very nice, very respectful. I think he was from Ghana. And so he walked up to my car. And again, he was very, very nice and very respectful. But make a long story short, he asked for my number. And I told him, I couldn't give him my number. I didn't get into all the details, the whole 9 yards. Told him I couldn't give him my number. And then he was telling me that he was divorced. I don't know why he was driving around with his divorce papers. I don't even know if it was real. But he had these divorce papers, and he was like, no, there's no one where I can let you pull off. Like, can you just take my number? Just please, like, how do you know this is not God ordained? Well, if it's God ordained, you will find me again. And I pulled off. Right? Now, I know he was not the man that God had for me, right? I'm just trying to make a point here. You will pull off, you will walk off, and you will be at peace in your spirit because you know that whoever or whatever God has for you, it has to find you. It has to present itself. Even if you leave. But that's how much you trust God, because it has to find you. But when you're moving too fast and too swiftly, you're going to choose wrong. You're going to choose on your own accord. You're going to choose wrong, and you're going to block the person that God has for you from finding you. So that's how, what's the other question? If you happen to already know, right? Because I'm a firm believer, God will show a woman who her kingdom purpose partners or spouse is, because that was a toss up. not a toss up with me, but I think it was like a conversation or something, and someone felt like, well, no, God wouldn't show a woman. Yes, God will show a woman. The woman is not to speak on it, right? Because the man still have to find her. But yes, absolutely, God will tell or show or whatever the woman. But when you encounter, if you already know who this person is, when you are in the presence of this person, there is no question. The difference between you knowing and you not knowing is, if you don't know, it's still that tug of war between your flesh and your spirit at times, trying to decipher it. Could this really be? Because what if it is the one, and then I walk off and then I never see him again, and it really may be the one, and I think he could. If it's the one, if it is the one, there will be zero reservations. Your spirit alone will tell you. It's like when the spirits meet, it's like welcome home. Welcome home. It's ordained. Most people are not with their ordained spouses or partners. Most people are not with their ordained purpose partners, God ordained spouses, right? People tend to get together again because chemistry and great sex, or just physical attraction, or even love, right? I mean, you can love somebody and that's just not the person who God has for you. But again, only a very small percentage of people will arrive to this point, because most people, again, are just not disciplined enough to really wait on God. But lastly, I think I covered everything. I'm not even sure. But again, honestly speaking, typically is not, I won't say it's not, but a lot of the time is not going to be the person that you yourself would have picked up out of a lineup. There's just something, I don't know why God do it that way, but I don't know. But it's really weird, because even though you yourself would not have picked that person out of a lineup, if you will, something changes, right? Remember, he changes our desires. So something shifts when it happens, and then in your eyes, that person is the most beautiful person you've ever seen in your life. So he changes your desires. So sister, you will know. So to summarize, continue your healing season, but I will grant you your wish and send Will a text message, right? I would not suggest it, but you're a grown woman. And if he texts back and say, hey, well, such and such, then I will message you back. I'll email you and I'll let you know. But my suggestion would be, go ahead and continue healing. I know, right? But just continue your healing process. Once you are out of your healing process, because if you're not healed, sis, I don't care what man finds you, you're going to drag some of that same residue from your ex into the new thing, and you're going to mess it up. This is why it's so important to just go throughout that healing process, because anything that God sends is going to be longevity. But if you're going to prematurely enter something, right, you're going to mess it up. And yeah, again, confidence, just, keep working on that, because you will develop that. Just listen, if there's anything that your ex have placed in your spirit and said certain things to you, ask God to give you grace to help you release that thing from your spirit, because a lot of the times the things that people say to us, that stuff sticks, and we don't even realize that that's what's causing our lack of confidence and self-esteem. So ask God to give you grace to show you any area that someone have said something to you, give you grace to heal that area, so you can go ahead and come out of this healing season. Because yes, you, my friend, have choices, many of them. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.